Yeah. Colin Plume, CEO of Noble Gold Investments. Been in the investment space for almost 20 years. Commercial.
You got to be close to the mic. Close to the mic.
Oh,
yes, they can hear you.
Yeah. Commercial real estate, insurance, and then precious metals for about 16 years now. So basically tangible investments is what I love and what I focus on. And we're here today to talk about something, as you said, people don't always talk about.
Yeah. And I'm a real estate guy myself, and people tend to overlook, precious metals because like it's not cool, right? It's like people are like, oh, I'm in crypto. That's like the cool thing that a lot of young people are in.
Right.
But you tell them, oh yeah, like I got precious metals, and they look at you like, what the fuck? Who does that? Right? It's kind of like a nerdy thing, but it is very potent, I think, in the financial world. What about you, bro?
Yeah, my name is Josh Ward. I've been with Colin for almost 8 years, and I'm a senior sales associate at Noble Gold.
Nice. Okay. So can you guys kind of give us a crash course on what precious metals are and why people should look into investing?
Well, I mean, investing in general, or
in precious metals,
in precious
specifically.
Okay.
Compared to other, and we could go ahead and go compare it to other asset classes after.
Yeah. Well, I think it is. I always talk about diversification.
Yeah.
And beginning of your show, you talk about you're on multiple platforms because there's censorship or there's things that can happen on one platform. I have a lot of experience with influencers on YouTube, and YouTube demonetized people, and that's basically how Rumble came about.
Yeah.
So I believe that for an investment, for an individual, it's really important to have different slices of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a real estate guy too. I actually was
in commercial
real,
right?
Yeah, I was in commercial real estate and
residential, or like more business.
Commercial real estate.
Yeah.
I own shopping centers and apartment buildings.
I meant like residential commercial real estate, like apartment complexes. Or
yeah. So actually, all commercial it would be considered apartments.
Yeah.
So everything
5 units and up.
For everything 5 units up.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done anything smaller than 5 units because there's some benefits to that. But for what I do, it's larger buildings. So I have that. I have stocks. I have crypto. I have the whole thing. But when you look at the world today, and you look at the dollar losing so much value, and you look at inflation and how much things cost. My wife was just in Vegas, and she was telling me the craps tables. You couldn't even sit down at a craps table for less than $100 a bet, right? And I remember 10 years ago it was $10 a bet.
Wow.
So things have gotten really expensive, and our buying power has really shrunk. So how do you combat that? Well, you can do quick money places to make money, and people do well there, and they've done well in crypto or sneakers or all these things. But eventually you have to take that money and get it into some place that's safe.
Yeah.
And you have to put it, you can't just keep going risky, because guess what? It's going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Pigs get slaughtered. So that's why I believe that having some precious metals and it's been proven. I mean, if you look at the value, I mean, this year gold's up almost 17%. If you go back to, during the pandemic, gold was sitting at about 1,400. We're sitting at over 2,400 today in 4 years. So it's just another thing that you should have to protect yourself. And it's private. People today, that nothing's private. Like gold is a private asset. So that's another thing. We can dive into that a little bit more. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the few asset classes where you can hold in your hand and it's tangible. It's not an intangible like a stock or a mutual fund. And to your point, you're mentioning that it's not as sexy as a lot of investments. I mean, this is pretty sexy, right? You hold these in your hands,
and it's heavy too, by the way.
As soon as I put that,
you
in your
compare
hand,
this to this, way better.
Yeah.
How much is it worth, by the way?
That today is about 78,000 today. That little bar.
This is
About the
heavy
size
as hell,
of an
man.
iPhone.
Holy crap!
And for the audience, that weighs how much?
So this is 1,000 grams of pure gold.
1,000 grams.
Yeah,
2.2 pounds.
2.2 pounds, 32.15 ounces.
Holy.
Yeah. So the idea is like, everybody thinks these are cool and they are, but I remember, 20 years ago, these were really cool. And today, I mean, this doesn't pay much.
Yeah.
I mean, we all went out to lunch. This might not even cover it, depending on where we're going.
Yeah.
I know you gave me a good recommendation for a place.
Yeah.
We didn't make it there, but
no worries.
Like if you're eating at an expensive, nice dinner, we went to Poppy Steak last night. I mean, that's.
Oh yeah, you like the fancy places.
Well, I mean, we wanted to experience,
I get the regular shit.
Yeah.
As you should experience.
Yeah. This is the fine dining guy. He's the one that loves the nice stuff.
Oh, he does. Okay.
I'm doing Chipotle every day, man. This guy is over here going to a nice place.
Well, I'm dealing with clients.
Yeah.
But to your point, though, that $100 can maybe buy 2-3 drinks at the bar.
Oh yeah,
nowadays,
barely,
and then it's finished.
barely. Yeah, no, it's inflation is absolutely out of control. And you look at just overall buying power, and you know, you watch the news, and it seems like they're trying to tell you things are getting better, but it hasn't gotten better. It's not getting, things aren't getting more affordable. Everybody knows that, and so that's why the economy is sort of sputtering around, and people aren't feeling great about consumer confidence is the lowest it's been in like almost 20 years. People are not confident. They're not spending money in real estate. It's a great example. I mean, the loans are not happening.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why they're not happening. It's because banks are not confident that it's a good time to loan money. They don't feel confident. It's not like they don't. I mean, do banks?
That's why they're charging crazy high interest rates.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like a lot of the deals don't even make sense.
They do not make sense. And that's because they don't feel, there's no confidence, and they can't make any profit. And so they're worried about defaults. So they're going to make the criteria very hard and difficult. So as much as I love real estate, and I do have a lot of real estate, I do think it's important that you should have other assets, because people, from when the stock market pulled back a few years ago, you're in retirement or you need money, like you're going to sell a house that's down 30-40%. No, you want to wait, right? Well, maybe you sell some of your gold, maybe, you take advantage of the things that are up in value, and gold and silver just really took off because people knew the value of these items. So yeah, I think investing is interesting. I mean, listen, it's a new world. People are buying Nike shoes and selling them and flipping, but that market's got crushed. That market's probably down 50-60%. We were talking before we got on, like he loves watches. Josh is a watch guy.
Another asset class. Yeah.
And I mean, tell me about what we were talking about, the Rolex, or what was the one?
One of the more extreme examples was the left-handed Sprite. It's the left-handed Rolex that just came out, I think it was in 2022.
Okay.
And it has everything on the opposite side. And when it came out, it was like 40, almost 50 grand, and they sell for 10 to 12 grand MSRP. And now I could buy one tomorrow for 15.5, 16 grand. I mean, we can go to your buddy's shop right now and get one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have completely come back down to earth. So it's
I remember like in 2020, 2021, like Rolex watches were selling at a premium.
Crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, people aren't buying anymore. That buying power that people had is gone.
They don't have any money.
Yeah,
people are broke. They don't have any money. And also, let's be honest, like that, a lot of that was built up because, in my opinion, people were at home watching videos all day because it was COVID.
Yeah. And
they'd watch these watch videos, and the guys on the watch shows are great. It's so exciting. The guy that's here in the building. And so
shout out to Neil, Timepiece Trading.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, oh, everyone's at home and they, got a little extra cash, so they buy it and they go, oh, it's an they tell their wife it's an investment or whoever. But now, those people are hurting and they're silently going into the pawn shops and going, hey, you know what? I'm broke. And so that investment that seemed great, that was not really an investment, is sort of gone. I mean, there's a lot of Rolexes out there. There's a lot of Nike shoes. Like there's no rarity behind that stuff. It's all just hype. It's all built on hype. So I believe in it. There need to be fundamentals, and there needs to be things that, if you can make a quick buck on something, great, but you got to go risky safe. And that's how I believe investing should be.
You mentioned earlier that the precious metal asset class is private. Can you explain that I think I know what you mean by that, but like for the audience, they're like, wait, what does he mean by it being private?
Yeah, well, it's the last investment that you own by yourself.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that unless those shoes and those other things, sure. But obviously what's the market for those? Right now there's no market, right? So if you have a lot of those, things that were hot for a while, classic cars, great example, it's down too. You have to find a buyer. These things have a buyer anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Right.
And there's a lot of people that say that you can't take this stuff with you. I mean, I flew this here from across the country. I mean, you can move you could put a few $1 million in a shoebox, right? And so what other asset can you do that with?
Right.
And there really isn't.
Take it with you anywhere. Question, with gold, you have to, if you leave the country, you do have to report if it's worth over 10,000, right?
But I know people that have been able to get out of the country, and there's a lot of ways to do that. I don't want to get in any trouble here, but we were joking about how
the politician.
Well, there's the Bob Menendez. Yeah, there's that. But what you were saying about how when there's a lot of boats that lost their,
I'm one of the sales guys at Noble, and I have tons of clients that take all their gold and silver on boats and sinks to the bottom of the ocean, right?
Okay. I see.
Right? All the time.
Yeah, hey, man.
There's a lot of,
Are they Nigerian?
Yeah, and you guys haven't acquired any gold or silver before, right? This is
I have
you're in
silver.
silver.
Yeah, I'm
you're,
in
you're in
silver.
silver. Okay.
But gold, no, not yet.
Gold, okay.
But yeah, then we could definitely talk about the differences between the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you? We don't want to interrupt you. Did you finish the part with the?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Well,
yeah,
he was just
you go
talking
out to the
about
credit.
he was talking about privacy, right? I
Yeah.
think the idea is that there's ways to keep this stuff private. Also, the fact that you can just store it at your house, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
In
there's
a
not
safe.
in a safe, and I think people,
No banks.
no banks, and people, the world has become fractionalized. Everything is from real estate to classic art to, I mean, you can buy a Picasso, but you get a fraction of it. And people don't realize when you do those, even fractional stocks I've seen, it's such a bad way to invest because when you buy a fraction, the companies charge a really hefty fee. I've seen fees 30-40% in fractional acquiring of items. So what do you really own? You're just a small share. You're getting a fee. And then guess what? You paid 30% coming in. When you get out of it, what's going to happen too? You're going to taxes and you're going to get hit with another fee. So this is an item that you hold. There's no holding fee. You buy it and you keep it. And so if you do the math, that's the thing about real estate. Everyone thinks real estate, because you get a return. But over the last few years, what return have people been getting? I mean, a lot of apartment buildings, tenants aren't paying. They're trying to get out. Vacancies have gone up. Labor costs to fix the apartments has gone. So there's a lot of costs of real estate. I'm not saying it's not a good investment. There's tax advantages. We can go down that rabbit hole for a while, but I'm saying there's not a lot of items that you have control over, and it's in you have it, and you can go anywhere, and it's going to go up over time.
Yeah.
And
How much has gold gone up since, like, let's say 2020?
So
20,
2020,
years.
so when the pandemic started, gold dropped to $1,380.
$1,200, $1,300.
Yeah.
Silver dropped to $12.
Yeah.
There's 2,400 now, right?
24.30 today,
Yeah, $24.30 today.
And-
Silver's at $28.50.
28.50 today. So
So it's roughly doubled since the pandemic in 4 years.
And silver gold has broken its all-time high, but silver, the all-time high is $50 an ounce. So it's still below its all-time high. So that's why a lot of people are diving into silver. They like the potential. But gold, central banks are buying a lot of gold. And I think they're going to lower rates. They're talking about lowering rates in September. The Fed's been talking about that. And that would be good because that'll open up the money supply, and this will get less valuable, and money will get cheaper.
Are there any tax benefits to having precious metals like real estate?
The tax advantage is in the IRA. You can put there's a lot of assets people don't know you can put into an IRA. Real estate is one of them. Precious metals is another one. So if you buy precious metals in your IRA and you use an old 401k or an IRA, you can all the gains in the precious metals stay in the IRA like all the other assets.
Okay.
The other really exciting thing about
how does that go about? Like, do you have to give it to the bank, your precious metals? Like, can you store it yourself?
So you can't store it yourself because you can't store any assets in an IRA yourself because there has to be a third party. So we use a private depository. They're in Texas and Delaware. It's segregated storage. So basically you buy the metal from us, we ship it there. They have a person authenticate it. We take a picture of it, we shrink wrap it, and then we store it for you there. So it's held privately. Now you can get access to it at any time. If it's before 59.5, you have to pay taxes. But what a lot of people are doing right now is because they don't trust the dollar. So they're basically, instead of taking cash as their distribution, they're taking some of their gold. So at retirement, they're taking some of their gold out. So it's a great way to kind of hedge your bet. If you have a lot of money in the stock market and you're looking for something different, you're worried, a lot of people are concerned the stock market might be inflated right now. So it's a great way to kind of hedge your bet against what's happening out there.
We had on a couple months ago Robert Kiyosaki. He spoke
Yeah.
about precious metals and gold, especially in silver.
Great guy.
If I'm like a beginner, how much should I get as a beginner into like silver or gold? How much should I acquire?
Yeah.
You would say.
Yeah, I mean that's it's depends on everybody's needs and their their background and what they have stashed away. But I try to get as much as I can. I've been I bought my first 100 ounces of silver with student loan money that I had extra when I went to college. So that was my first 100 ounce. I still have that, and I have a bunch now. I've built up quite a bit working at Noble for the last 6-7 years, almost 8 years I should say. But yeah, it's going back to silver. I really like silver. A lot of my clients really like silver. And one of the main reasons, because what other asset can you buy at a discount to its 1980s price, right? Today in 2024, right? Silver went to $50 in the late 70s, early 80s, and in 2011.
Oh wow.
And today it's sitting under 30.
Mhm.
Right? Silver's in every AI chip. Silver's in every electric vehicle. Silver's in every solar panel. Right? Silver is going to be the future, and it's sitting at, I mean, ridiculously cheap right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of my clients are loading up on silver.
It's like a more entry level precious metal to get into.
That's correct. I mean, each ounce you could buy today, you know, give or take, you know, $30 to $35 depending on what you get each ounce. So the barrier to entry is very low.
Yeah, I think, listen, it really, everyone's situation is different in terms of what they can afford. I think ultimately, you know, when you're investing in something that is a hedge against the world and things that are happening, I can tell you that our clients, when they get out of other things and they get gold and silver and they get it delivered to their house or they get in their IRA, they always say they feel better about the decision that they made. They feel comfort because they know that this can't be printed. Right? It has to be mined. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the gold supply in terms of mining only goes up about 1% per year. You know, if the dollar only went up by 1% per year, I think we'd all be very happy, but that's not what happened. I mean, they've printed more money in the last 4 years than they did in the 20 years before that. So I think what it comes down to is just supply and demand, right? That's what people want. They want an item that has demand. It's, you know, they use this in heart monitors. They use it in, you know, solar panels is big for silver, 20 grams in every solar panel. So it's a lot. So there's inherent industrial demand and it continues to grow. And then the thing I love about gold is that, you know, it doesn't corrode. It's going to be around, right? So you give this to your kids or your grand or whatever, you pass it down. I mean, 5,000 years from now, this will be the same thing. There's very few items in the world that will ever stay the same, you know, over that long of a time period. So
let's say there's a guy named Jimmy. Jimmy has saved up maybe 5K in his account, extra money. He wants to invest. What should he buy with the 5K?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, so what we do is they would call in and talk to Josh or Steve or what's a live person. So we're not like bots, and it's, you don't buy online, you get to talk to somebody. So you're going to talk to somebody that has owned a lot of precious metals that buy. So it's a personal relationship. And so whether you buy gold, silver, platinum, or palladium, or a combination. I was going to ask
about the other precious metals after. We'll get into that after.
Yeah. So we have all of those, but I think ultimately it comes down to what we do is try to get an understanding of what is important to you.
Right. What's your goals?
What's your goals? And I think I would say just on a high level, gold is owned by central banks. It's more rare than silver. You know, banks use it to trade and barter, so it's less volatile typically. So if someone's really looking for something that's just kind of steadily goes up over time, then gold would be a good option. So they should get silver day to day, and as Josh said, it's in high demand and people want it, but day to day it's more volatile. It can go because it's $30, $28, right? So if someone says like, I don't want to take the ups and downs of that, then gold's probably a better purchase. And then platinum and palladium are mostly just industrial metals. They're very low right now. They're both below $1,000. Platinum has been over $2,000. Palladium has been over $4,000, and they're both sitting in the 900.
This is per ounce?
Per ounce. Yeah. They're both sitting in the $900 range. So I think a lot of times people will do kind of a combination, but I say out of the gate, if you had to ask me, majority, it's probably like 60-40 silver to gold, probably right out of the gate. You would say that's the,
and I have clients that just buy gold. I have clients that just buy silver. A lot of my older clients really focus on gold. A lot of my younger clients focus on silver.
Okay.
I don't want to relate it to Bitcoin, but I'm assuming just from what you said, let's say gold is the Bitcoin and Ethereum is the silver.
Yeah, I've heard that analogy too, because Bitcoin has a limited supply, right? There's 21 million coins. So I think that's been a natural, like gold and Bitcoin. Even when I do videos on YouTube, Bitcoin versus gold is like my top rated video of all time. Because they always think about that. So and I'm not saying my videos get the views your videos get, but I'm just saying, but I'm saying, I think Bitcoin, is used as currency, so it feels like gold also. There's a limited supply. It feels like it's been around the longest, so it has that similar dynamic. And also now that there's ETFs and hedge funds investing into gold, into Bitcoin, it has a lot of the same properties. Ethereum too, but Ethereum, as you can just mint as many ETFs as ETH as you can. So there's no limited supply. So it's hard to say it's like silver in that it's, silver does have a limited supply. So it's hard to say it that way, but I see the analogy, and a lot of people do ask us about that.
So the other precious metals, because everyone talks about silver and gold, that those seem to be the most popular. And you guys are saying typically most people hold it 60-40, a little bit more silver than gold.
Correct.
You mentioned platinum and what was the other?
Palladium. Yeah, palladium.
What about copper?
Copper is gone up a lot, and it's good. The only problem is how big is your warehouse?
Because you need a lot of it to make sense, right?
Yeah. You need it. So sometimes people call us, and I mean, I'm sure we could sell it, but unless they're living on a 400-acre farm, I don't know if it's going to get them enough to make sense for financially. But platinum and palladium we've started to see a pickup in both of those metals. Palladium went up really high because in catalytic converters in Europe, people that was a really high demand because they're going really EV there. I know we're going there too, but they were a little bit ahead of us. So the palladium was used in their catalytic converters for the electric vehicles.
Okay.
So that's why that price really shot up. But now it's kind of come back to earth below 1,000. And platinum is used now in catalytic converters. It's used in a lot of the big trucks like Dodge and all these new trucks. They have a lot of platinum in them. So people believe that metal could sort of take off. So they're not the metals that everybody talks about, but I do think that they do have intrinsic value. And actually platinum out of the four is the hardest to mine. So it's
technically the most expensive per ounce right now.
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
In theory, it should be, but it's not. It's sitting in the $900 range.
And an ounce of gold is
$2,430.
Wow.
Yeah. What do you, I know you like?
I love platinum. So platinum's unique. It hasn't been around for a long time because its melting point is almost double that of gold.
Okay.
So 500 years ago they couldn't smelt platinum because you couldn't refine it.
Yeah.
You could do it with gold, but you can't do it with platinum. So I really like platinum. Platinum is 10 times rarer than gold. So it's much harder to find. There's 10 times more gold on this planet.
So why is gold so much more expensive? Is it because it's just a more tradable asset class? Is that why?
Central banks hold gold. The BRIC nations, the BRICS are coming together. The BRIC nations is growing. They had 20 new countries come in. There's a lineup out the door. People want to join BRICS.
Yep.
Because they are thinking about the future. They understand that the way countries need to trade and they want to barter within each other. And so they have a meeting in October that they've put on the agenda that they want to have a gold-backed currency. And so I think people don't understand how much central bank holding of gold affects the price.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a big difference because they're typically not sellers, right? They're just net buyers. And so you have central banks buying and holding. You have hedge funds right now buying and holding. So you have these huge entities buying and holding. So platinum and palladium don't have that because they're more being used typically out in industry.
Gotcha.
Whereas gold is a lot of the gold in the world sits in a central bank, vault, or a lot of it's on, people's necklaces and, because obviously in jewelry, that's a big part of it. It's a big demand. Still, it's 66% of the demand in gold is through jewelry. So there's still a lot of demand, just people wanting to wear and have gold. And actually anyone that's bought gold as a gift or it's been probably one of the few things that they've bought. If you buy diamonds, they crash. They're not worth anything, but you bought somebody a nice gold necklace, like that thing's gone up and you've done well. Not as well as if you bought bars or because these are more pure, but ultimately like you haven't done that bad. And a lot of jewelry has depreciated.
Do you think, because, obviously BRICS is challenging the US dollar.
Correct.
Do you think with BRICS emerging, all these countries getting together, trying to destabilize the dollar, that's going to actually increase the value of gold?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think they're not only that is they're buying gold. China does this funny.
And they're trying to have it backed by gold, which is how we used to have it.
So exactly. Our currency was backed by gold. They want a currency that they can trade within each other that would be gold backed. So that's stronger than our currency.
Yeah.
And actually, if you look at the petrodollar, which gave us one of the big advantages that we as the US
they just did away with like a month ago.
Exactly.
Or in June. In June they did away with it, which is crazy.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that's a red flag. Because that gives us a strategic advantage as a country, right? To
print as much money as we want,
right?
And they got to buy their oil in dollars,
correct? And now they're moving away. So central banks holding of U.S. debt, if you go back 20 years, their central banks holding around the world, it was about 70% of U.S. debt. Now it's about 58%. So they're getting rid of our treasury bonds. They're getting rid of our debt. They don't want any, and they're dropping and dropping and dropping. They're trying to get away from the dollar.
you know, as someone who, you know, you're one of your hats, one of your professions is you know, the precious metal world and gold. Do you think us getting off the gold standard was one of the stupidest things we could ever do?
Absolutely.
As a nation?
Absolutely. Because if you look at the wealth in this country and what happened, the wealth gap within 10 years widened by such a dramatic margin. I mean, you know, people in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they could afford to buy a house.
Yeah.
They, you know, you have a guy that, I mean, everyone's heard the story about the guy who was a bricklayer in 1955 and his wife stayed home and he could afford to buy a house, you know,
single income.
I remember my grandfather bought a brand new car for $200.
Right.
In a day.
Yeah.
Working at a factory.
Yeah. No, I love cars. So my dad was a car guy, and he's 80. So when he was, you know, 16 to 25, he was like, it was so fun because every year he would just get he would swap his cars out. They were like $500. So he'd get a GTO or he'd get a Chevelle or and he's like, Chevy. It was the greatest, you know, it was just like, he could just drive a new car, wreck it, or, you know, drag or do whatever he wanted to do. Because he could afford stuff. And he wasn't making a lot of money back then. He could actually afford. And a lot of the stuff that I think is happening in the world, you know, I watch your show and sometimes I see where, you know, women are looking to, you know, find a guy and they want $100,000 income and they want, you know, all normal. But I actually think a lot of that, the problem what's happened is that it's so much more difficult today. 100,000 isn't even that much money, right? Really. Yeah. And it's also like, even if somebody makes 200,000 somewhere, they might not own anything.
Yeah.
They might own nothing, you know? And so who gives a shit how much money you make? Yeah. If you don't own shit, if you don't have any assets, like you're not gonna propel yourself in life, you know? You gotta own stuff. You gotta own it. And so you have the World Economic Forum, and you know, they came out with an article a year ago that they were like top 10 ways that a young person could not own anything. And they thought this was like a good thing. What's a good thing about not owning anything?
Gen Zers are idiots when it comes to that. Like, we're like not owning things. Like they'll own some Bitcoin or whatever, but that's about it.
That's it.
They won't buy property. They won't invest in precious metals.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
You know, I'm a millennial. I'm 34, so I came right after. But I would say, so when I was in college, like there was this push to get people educated. You need to get a degree. If you don't get a degree, you fuck it up, blah, 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 right? I'm sure you guys probably went through that crap too. Now with the internet, people are kind of in social media, they're saying you don't need that crap. But like people were saying the only way that you're going to get ahead is to get a college degree. And I mean, a lot of wokies, hey, I don't need to own anything. I'm going to just be free. You know what I mean? Do what I want to do. So, you know, millennials are more likely to rent and everything. And I would say the next generation after us, the Gen Zers, is even more so into we don't need to own anything. Like we'll have some Bitcoin, but I want to be free. This whole concept of like being financially free is kind of like made people think I don't need to own assets because it ties me down.
Also,
that's where I think it comes from.
Yeah,
they've seen their parents struggle as well sometimes with property or, for example, issues, and they don't want that stress. They want to be free, like what he just said. And it's like, if I have freedom to like just be free without any type of like major bills, I'll be happy. But like you said earlier, without owning anything, what are you actually doing? You know what you should do, bro? Coming out hours and tell the hoes that. Hey, man, get to a real man that owns something.
I mean, I watched a lot of your show for many years, and then I wanted to watch more kind of coming in. I watched a lot of clips, and I was just, you know, I was watching this income thing. They were talking about income, and they want a certain type of guy, and it was really fascinating to me. I mean, I just think like a lot of it is like what Myron was saying was that like once we got off the gold standard, what you made, it wasn't worth anything. I mean, it's just like every day. And you know, there's other countries that have crazy inflation. I mean, we have somewhat stable, you know, I would say, you know, the government says 3%. I would say probably 8 to 10%. But, you know, there's other countries where the inflation is so bad. Like in Argentina, if you go to Argentina, inflation is so bad that you could go to the same restaurant 2 days in a row and you could pay 10% or 15% more or less, depending on inflation, you know, how things are going. And so those are things that we're starting to realize that inflation is really a silent killer. And if you don't have assets, and it's your point, Fresh, like talking about how people don't want to have the trouble of real estate. That's such a young person thing. Like, okay, maybe, maybe they
don't want to deal with it. You know, they don't want to deal. Like I've noticed like boomers and older people like will own stuff because they understand that like if you want to actually have like money and wealth, you need to own things.
Right.
But like millennials are like, no, I want to travel and be free.
Yeah.
Like they have completely different priorities. Like back then it was get married, have a family, buy a house. right? Have some gold, right? Have some things to your name.
Yeah.
Have some cash in a safe somewhere. Nowadays, it's like millennials are like, no, I just want to travel and be free and have my laptop.
And this is
I
what
want a backpack.
this is
What
what
shit like that.
BlackRock can come in and buy up properties because no one's buying anymore, really.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're like a big investor or
Yeah,
older.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
millennials just don't buy homes. Like there was some study that came out that found like, young people are, buy homes at a far less rate than, maybe 50 years ago.
Yeah, they can't afford it. They can't
Yeah,
afford it.
that too. That's a part. That's a big part of it. Yeah.
They'd love to own a home, right? But they can't afford it.
Yeah.
But,
Or
I mean, it's
maybe they
funny.
don't.
They prefer to travel and have experiences with friends than invest into themselves in the future.
Yeah.
So
And,
Yeah, people
and
aren't
I would
getting married as
argue
much.
that they're actually not free.
Yeah.
They're,
I
they're
agree.
not,
Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
They're actually less free than they've ever been.
yeah.
Because I think what it is that, listen, it's like you want to travel when you're young and all this stuff. And they always joke like you have money when you no longer can have fun with it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And that's like but like, I do think about it like in your 20s. Yeah. Like you should do some experiences. You should try some different things, but also you're the youngest, you're the healthiest. You can work you guys work crazy hours. You guys are hungry. And so that's when you make the money. That's when you make it and you get it into stuff. You get it so that later on you could enjoy your life. Right.
Mhm.
And so this idea of just, I want everything right now is so prevalent today. And I think it's just a really bad attitude. And I do think Josh is right. They can't afford it. And I also think coming out of debt from college, 80,000, 200,000, 300,000 in debt, that obviously is stressful. And so maybe they just go, fuck it, I'm never going to make it. Right. So I might as well just travel and spend everything I have because they don't think they can get through it. They don't think they can get
To
there.
your point, Colin, I know girls that get college funding. You know what they do with that money?
Go buy clothes.
They buy clothes, but they travel with it. So they go pay for school, but that's the rest of the money. I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Cancun.
Right.
And it's like, that's your money for your future. You're
Right.
wasting it on
Right.
experiences.
Right. Yeah.
Like, bro, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's all about immediate gratification is what
Yeah.
it comes down
Microwave
to.
mentality.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's everybody wants to get so that's Bitcoin to your point. They've seen that massive growth.
Mm.
So they only want the get rich quick
Yeah.
things, right? And
Yeah.
so there's no work involved in that. And
No
so
credit needed.
no
You
credit
can literally
needed.
just buy it off the internet.
And look at, all those people's that, all those NFTs that they just got completely hosed.
I
mean,
can't tell you how many people came to Miami during this crypto boom and it was hyped up, and they came buying bottles, getting
Sure.
Ferraris and Lambos. Where are they now?
Yeah.
Oh wait, you know where they're at? Gone,
Gone.
Because
Yeah.
the hype is gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, to your point, man, you gotta buy things that are
NFTs dropped
tangible,
off like 90%.
and it was a
Crazy.
mess.
Oh, the NFT market
NFTs.
was. I didn't get it. I bought a cool piece of art,
Mm.
and my art dealer's like, "Yeah, I don't know about this, but you can buy a NFT with the art." I'm like, "What do you mean? I got the fucking real thing right here. Like, why do I need the PDF?
Yeah.
You know?" And she's like, "I don't know." She's like, "I don't know. They're trying to sell it," and I'm like, "I have the real piece
Yeah.
right there."
Yeah.
I didn't understand it, but
Mhm.
they were trying for a minute, and some people probably bought it. I
Oh, no,
don't,
a lot
I
of
don't
people
know.
bought it.
Yeah, but I
Bored Ape, these other
oh,
my
NFTs.
Lord.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
like, dude, all that money that they spent, gone in a flash,
Yeah.
a blink of an eye, gone.
Yeah. And it's like iPhones. Like people buy iPhones and they think, and we always talk about it. Like iPhones, like it's cool. Let's say you buy your iPhone, you can afford it's $1,000. You buy every 2. It's an investment. I need it for my business, but you really don't own anything in here, right? If Apple, pay your Apple bill, or you don't, you're gone. This thing's it's just plastic and there's nothing here. There's this. You're getting more into the system. They're just. It's another way to charge you money. So I think that we've become attached to things that are not really important.
The good thing also, now that you mentioned that, is if you have the precious metals, you buy it one time and that's it.
That's it.
No bill, no nothing. The bank can't take it from you.
Right.
You can
have to
put it
pay
in
a
a safe.
financial
Yeah,
advisor
you got to
1%
pay it.
every
So you
year.
buy it one time and that's it, and you can hold it for literally years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we do is, there's basically 2 ways to do it. You can buy bullion, coins, and bars, which is what we brought. So these get you the most weight, most bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Then there's rare coins. So you right there, that's actually very interesting. That's a high relief coin. So this is from 1907.
Oh wow.
So this is a $20 gold piece. So from 1776 to 1933, the government, there was no paper money. It didn't exist, right?
Mhm.
There was this. This is a 1 ounce gold coin that that's valued at $20, and a ½ ounce gold coin was $10. Quarter ounce gold coin was $5. Right?
Mm.
There's almost an ounce of silver in every Morgan silver dollar and Peace silver dollar.
Gotcha.
So the government couldn't print money back then, right? They actually had to find the gold and silver. They had to mine it.
It had real value.
Wow.
Real value.
And when you hear the term "the dollar's as good as gold," it's because the dollar was gold. Right?
Yeah.
This was the dollar, right?
Yeah.
Now it's the government can print it out of thin air. It says Federal Reserve note on it, right?
Even though there's nothing federal about it,
that's exactly
held
right.
by private banks.
That's exactly right. That you pay interest to on every dollar that's created.
Exactly.
And you're never going to be free, right? This really sets you apart. You're no longer exposed to the banks. You're no longer exposed to the financial markets, right? You're holding your future in your hands. Real simple.
Yeah.
So you brought us some gifts today.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's including that big one over there.
Yeah.
But how much are these worth? These Donald Trump coins?
Yeah, with some silver coins, guys. Check it out.
You know, those are actually part of our promotion. So anyone that does a qualified IRA with us, obviously they're going to mention that they heard about us on the show. They're going to get the Trump coin if they want for free, or they can
1
get
ounce each.
they can get they actually get 10 ounces.
Oh, they got 10 ounces.
Yeah, of the
Nice.
round, the Trump round. So that's free.
Okay.
Or they can choose this
American
flag
flag.
bar. Yeah, the flag bar, which is also 10 ounces. So, you know, depending on where they're politically
That's nice.
are, if they don't want a Donald Trump round. Which,
How much is one of these worth right now at this moment?
That's like what is it?
$300, $320.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a good. So any qualified account, that's what you're going to get. So you call in and you just say you heard us on the show, and they'll talk about it. But I think I think the idea of going old school right now and how you invest and how you think about things is really smart. I think people need to realize that, like, if the banks are paying 4.25%, which they are right now, what are they making out there?
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the thing you have to think about. What's their returns out there? So even though it seems great and there's this big cash grab, they're going to lower rates in September. Rates are going to start coming down. It's like, you got to be able to keep up with inflation. That's the whole thing. And so, I always talk about like a 1 ounce gold bar. If you go back 100 years, they didn't have these, but if you had a 1 ounce gold coin 100 years ago, and it was,
And I see you have different types. Like this is one where it's, I guess, IGR brand, and that's another one.
yeah, these are all.
It doesn't matter what brand it is, right?
Yeah, as long as it's a reputable. We verify that these are all reputable brands,
Okay.
and we guarantee everything that we sell, and we buy back everything we sell. So,
Okay.
to answer your question, Fresh, like, yeah, gold was at 1,400 and now it's at 2,400. So
Crazy.
if people need to sell it, they sell it, right? That's the beauty behind it. They don't have to. It's not like they're Jordan that dropped 40%. They actually can make some money.
Because I'm thinking, like, let's say I buy some gold now. I hit hard times. I can sell this piece of silver, $300 to pay my car payment.
Yeah.
Or I could sell maybe that gold bar and pay half my mortgage. So like that level of buying and having the holding power is powerful, because now, because for the future, if I have issues or even want to get money right away,
Correct.
I can.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people do it. Silver's a great. Yeah, silver for bartering makes a lot of sense, because at $30, if you needed to pay, if you needed to go to do groceries and $100 here, and you pay, and so you have something tangible. And I always think about, like, 1 ounce of gold 100 years ago, you could go out and you could take your wife out to dinner, or your girlfriend, and you could go to the supermarket, you could pay your rent, you could do a lot with a 1 ounce of gold 100 years ago. Today, you could do the same. You can almost pay your whole mortgage, right? You could buy groceries. You could, it's still able to do the same things from 100 years ago that it is today.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow.
Because because you just, like, let's say you bought the gold for, like, you got, let's say 2020, $1,200,
Yeah.
$1,300
Yeah.
back then, that 1 ounce of gold.
It's more than
Well, if you
double.
had that $1,200 cash versus using it today,
Yeah.
right? You're not
Yeah.
going to have the same value in 2024. But if you kept that bar of gold in that 4 years, it's
Yeah.
doubled.
Well,
So it's like great hedge
yeah.
against inflation.
yeah. So Bob
Fantastic.
Menendez, I don't know if you saw the
doubles.
you saw the senator that got in trouble for bribes. Did you see this guy?
Oh,
Which
His-
senator?
Robert Menendez. So I'll tell you, basically he got bribes, and he finally got indicted recently. And so
it was with gold, right?
it was with gold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he got the bribes in 2022. And so if you look at the price of gold and you look at the dollar, and he got actually these kilo bars, he had
Same
2
one.
kilos and a bunch of ounces of gold. And if he gotten that bribe in cash as opposed to gold, he would have lost 37%. Gold made 30 would have made him 37% more than cash.
Wow.
And so one of the senators made a joke that everybody should get their bribes in gold. So,
Yeah. No, it's
so
That's crazy.
yeah, it's interesting. It's to think about those things. So yeah, and obviously he got it because he was liquid, and he did it, but he just didn't do a good job of hiding it.
What are
so
Good.
Let's assume someone's watching the show and
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? Fuck it, I want to do it. I got $1,000.
Yeah.
$500. Right. We'll go 500, then we'll go with 1,000. Right. Like
Yeah.
what?
2,000 is our minimum.
So they need
Yeah,
2K. Okay.
2K,
Let's say
yeah.
they have 2,000.
Yeah.
they want to go ahead and get some metals. They want to have some kind of, they want to divvy it up. What would you guys suggest? A beginner package, $2,000, entry level precious metal guy. He wants to get into it. What should he do?
1 ounce silver rounds, just like you have there in front of you. These are the lowest premium 1 ounce silver coins. Super easy to barter with, super easy to trade with. Very divisible.
And it doesn't have to be. You could be with anybody on it. It could be an American, an Eagle
Buffalo.
coin, or, Buffalo. So there's a lot of.
How much you suggest? How many? So no gold, just straight pick up silver.
Well, $2,000 is not going to get you a lot of gold.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, this is 2,500 almost, right?
Yeah.
So
For 1 ounce.
For 1 ounce.
I mean, to give you an idea, I remember early on when we started, we shipped a few clients. They were like, they wanted a gram of gold. So a gram of gold is like your fingernail.
Okay.
Wow.
And so I remember the lady was like, you guys didn't ship it. And I'm like, you got to just keep opening the package.
Oh,
wow.
So gold, because I was literally going to say that next is like the reason why with $2,000 you don't pick up gold is it's so goddamn small.
It'll
it's
be
not
too,
worth it.
you won't be excited. You'll be disappointed. You know, it won't.
How much is that?
So this bar, this is fractional gold. Okay.
Yep.
So this is called the combi bar. So
I see it has little cuts in it.
yeah, so it's like a little gold Kit Kat bar. So you can actually break this into 1 gram individual sections.
Okay.
Which is about $85 a gram today, give or take. So you know, each little tiny bar here is $85.
Yeah. So this is for people that are concerned about, when the dollar collapses. So they'll go, okay, they'll go to the store and they'll break off one and they'll break off another, and that's how they'll pay for their day-to-day items.
Gotcha.
And there's many states that will accept gold and silver for taxes, or
I live in one of them, Texas.
Texas takes gold and silver. There's places that will accept gold and silver. People don't realize that. I mean, listen, the states are happy to take gold. They would rather take gold than the dollar, right? I mean, it's if they have a choice. Yeah, and they're just going to put it in their vaults, and then they're going to. Texas has been doing it for about 4 or 5 years, and you can pay your maybe you have a citation or business tax, you can pay it in gold, and they just put it in their vaults, and they're ecstatic. I would keep my gold, but they do give you the option. To do
that's
that.
what Kiyosaki actually said that too. Keep the gold, barter the silver.
Yeah, barter the silver. Yeah, and pay them in your cash, right? This is going down a lot in value. This is trash basically, and it's true. Unfortunately, I hate to say it.
I mean, the pandemic proves that. It was $1,200, before, and then 4 years later, now it's doubled in the gold. So the money value went down.
Yeah, and also the pandemic, I think, proved that the idea of just giving people money just doesn't work, right? I mean, I know people that they were getting $1,000 a week or something crazy, $800 a week. And, there was a 1 year period when actually people weren't going out, and actually consumer debt went down by the most it's gone down in like over 30 or 40 years. Okay. So it finally goes down. Credit card debt, all the bad debt, not like houses and stuff, but like credit card debt. So that happens in 2020, 2021. Well, guess what happens last year? Highest credit card debt in history we have right now in the U.S.
Highest rates too.
Highest rates, over $1 trillion in credit card debt. So we went 3 years ago giving people money, going, hey, we're going to help you out. You got to pay your roof, this and that. And what did they do with it? They bought useless shit and they wasted it. And then once the money dried up, they didn't go out and start a career or start a YouTube channel. They just went and blew it on stuff they didn't need. And then 4 years later, we have the highest credit card debt in U.S. history.
So I help manage a rental car company. We do exotics.
Oh, nice.
During that time, it was booming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because you spending money on the car, it's gone. Versus you buy some gold, some silver, you get to keep it.
Yeah.
But people were getting Lambos, renting cars, popping bottles. The money's gone now.
Yeah.
So
that's another business that you have. Oh, that's good. That's a great business.
But then again, though, like you said before, what is it? Microwave mentality. They want to have all the fun now, but not for the future. So.
Yeah. But it'll come back. They'll be renting those Lambos again. I promise. Yeah. Because they're going to lower rates.
Yeah.
They're going to lower rates.
People feel like they get free money.
Because also in real estate, I'll tell you, when they lower rates, people will feel like they're rich again. People think they're rich when their house goes up in value. What does your house have anything? What are you going to do?
Catch a refi?
Yeah. What, go buy a boat or go, like, what are you going to do with your house going? Who cares? You got to live somewhere.
Yeah.
I always joke, like, unless you're going to sell your house later on and move to Guam, well, you got to live somewhere. So what does it matter that your house goes up? That's not an asset.
Yeah.
Everything else are assets. So, but people in September, they're going to go, and I guarantee you, real estate will start to take off again. They'll feel rich and they'll start spending money again in the same, it's always the same cycle, unfortunately.
You had a question that you wanted to say before.
Yeah, no. I'm just curious. Like, what are the downsides of gold? Like, any downsides at all? Any disadvantages of having gold?
I mean, with any investment, the price could go down, right?
Yeah.
You know, so there's that aspect of it. I can't see if you study the charts and you look at,
It's been really really stable, man.
Very stable.
So, like it's like very little volatility.
Yeah, it's been very stable. I think it's, you know, the demand is extremely high. I think the telling sign for me a lot of times, you know, being on the inside, that we get to see who's buying, you know, our clients.
Of course.
We got guys in New York that are hedge fund guys that are day to day doing hedge fund, and they buy from us.
Yeah.
They buy lots of gold and store it. So they're telling people you should do this and you should do that and this and that. But then when they make a big bonus, they don't do it.
They're calling me to buy gold. Right? I have tons of clients that are
Yeah.
financial advisors. They
Yeah.
never recommend it to their clients,
Yep.
but they're calling me on their downtime to
Yep.
buy gold and silver.
Yeah. We're finally seeing financial advisors start to recommend us, only because they were losing so much business because
Yeah.
they were fighting. No, they don't want to do that. I could get you this, and I can
Well,
get
it's
you.
just not a sexy thing. Like, I hate to, like, I like precious metals, but like, you know, people look at me a little funny sometimes when I say I have it. They're like, oh, fucking nerd. They think I'm over here collecting coins and shit like that. So it has like kind of a nerdy connotation, but like, it's really like one of the best slept on asset classes because it's stable. You can use it. You don't got to pay money to hold on to it. Like it's
Gold
great.
is money. Everything else is credit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the paper money. This is an illusion.
Yeah.
Right. That just goes down every single day.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing worse than being paid $1 today is to promise to be paid $1 tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'd much rather get paid in gold.
Especially with like these people like my age or whatever, like they're, you know, oh, I'm going to just play crypto and stuff. I'm like, dude, precious metals is like way less volatile.
I mean,
Like,
look at the culture of rap, what we see on TV. It's dollars being thrown and dollars being flexed.
Right.
So gold is not sexy because no one's
Yeah.
flexing it. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, it's just the U.S. too, right?
I'd love
So-
to see a rap video where a guy
Yeah.
throws a gold bar, gold
Yeah.
on the girl on the head.
Yeah.
No, that's a different. That's a different video.
I think it was one Trinidad James, gold all in my right.
yeah. So it's you know, and I'm glad that we're able to like do this episode and like kind of educate the masses because like, you know, people kind of go real far deep into crypto. Crypto is huge right
Yeah.
now, especially with like the people, then young people. So I think we need to get them back to like, no, you guys need to go ahead and buy
Diversify.
silver and gold. Because actually, the person that told me to buy precious metals was an older guy, Aaron Clary.
Yeah.
You know, and you know he's a boomer. He's like, yeah, you gotta buy.
He's our
precious
grandpa.
metals. Yeah.
He's a what?
But
He's our grandpa.
he's
like-
like,
okay.
yeah.
He's
He's
like
an
the
OG.
guy that gives you the straight.
Yeah.
He gives
Yeah.
it to you straight.
Yeah, he's the guy that wears the white socks, the New Balance sneakers. Looks like a dad. That guy. So you got to buy precious
I
metals.
think I saw him on the
Yeah.
beach over there.
yeah, probably.
He goes hiking and yells at
Hawaiian
the clouds,
shirts, yeah, Hawaiian shirts.
I
and shit.
don't like this life anymore.
Yeah. So, well, you know, angry old white guy. But yeah, like he was the one that told me, and I was like, damn, like this is true. Like we should be buying this shit. So,
Yeah.
but precious metals definitely. This just the stability alone is worth it.
Yeah, and I think what it is, you're right. It's people want something that's especially flashy, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, like, you know, over 20, 30, 40 years, you're putting your money away. You're going to remember all these things that seemed so good, you know, all these investments that seem great. But if there's something that comes out of the earth and industries need it, it's going to go up.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, you know. You know, it's like the analogy of good real estate. It's like, you know, eventually it'll bounce back in certain areas. There's certain things that people will always need and always want, and that's really the focus. So I think you're right. It's good to educate. That's really Noble Gold. That's what we focus on, is educating people. That's why we have, you know, you talk to Josh and other people that you can actually have a conversation with. So you can decide and go through all the options. Like, okay, and they call up and they go, I got a little stocks and I got this, and what do you think about that? And I think also the thing that I've realized is like everybody's going away from talking to people now. We talk to people. Like we build relationships with people, and they're long. And that's the cool thing about the business.
What do you think? As far as like, if someone's like, okay, you know what, I'm in. I want to go ahead and invest. I want to get into precious metals. What would you suggest? Bare minimum, how much of each, I guess, precious metal asset class should they hold? Should they hold you know, a certain amount of silver, a certain amount of gold? What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I always have the same response when people ask, because I get that a lot, right? How much should I do? What should I do?
Yeah.
You're asking me the wrong question, right? You want to ask yourself, how much do you want to leave exposed in the market?
Okay.
How much do you want to leave in the dollar? How much do you want to leave at chance, right? And for me, it's very little, right? I own real estate and precious metals. That's about it.
Okay.
You know, that's pretty much it. So I'm not a big stock guy. It just doesn't make sense for me, right? This makes sense. This is easy
tangible.
for me to understand. Yeah,
It's right there.
That's exactly right.
So, let's say they got 10,000
Yes.
What, you know, they're like, you know what? I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I should put in real estate. I don't know if I should put in precious metals. I don't know if I should put in crypto. What do you guys suggest?
Well, 10,000. What could you get in real estate?
Yeah,
I think you can't. Well,
maybe get a piece of crap in somewhere in Ohio.
Yeah,
you know.
Ohio. Yeah,
but you'd have to do it with a loan.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Taxes
don't,
and everything.
and you're not going to get anything for $10,000 in real estate that's going to have any value.
Yeah.
Unless you do, there's all these fractionalized ways that you can buy stuff. And I can tell you that there's all these high level syndicators out there that'll be like, they'll take your 10,000 all day. But if you read in the fine print, they're going to make a big fee coming in. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a preferred return. And if they don't hit that preferred return, whatever. And I can tell you what's happening in real estate right now is that a lot of those syndicators are doing capital calls. where they're actually, you put your 10 grand in a few years ago and their loans come due. Because this is the problem with commercial real estate right now. And I'll tell you, if rates don't come down a lot, there's going to be a lot of stuff hitting the market. You know, they bought a property.
You guys don't do 30-year fixed. So
they don't do commercial does not. That's what people don't realize. It's 5.
So I'm in residential.
Yeah. Well, no, it's smart. No, I makes sense.
It's a little safer.
Yeah, but the stuff that I have is we did a lot of the loans like 2 years ago. We got another 5 years. But listen, I'm sweating it too because I got 5 more years. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that there's billions and billions of dollars of commercial real estate right now that they've had money at 3%, and right now they're going to be at 6.5%. And so you look at vacancy is up and they have rates are higher. So they have to go back to the bank and justify, number one, that they should still have this, right? Yeah. The mortgage is going to be double. Yeah. And their returns are down. So what they do is they go back to the investors and go, we can't cover. It's called a capital call. And they go, I know you put $10,000 more in. I'm sorry. I'm going to need another $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Just to keep the property. You're not getting a return right now. Yeah. You'll get it later, you know, but I need more money. Otherwise, we're going to lose this big apartment building or office building. And that's happening every day right now. That's happening. And it's going to get worse.
The loans are coming due now.
They're coming due.
All these, sexy loans they got in 2020 at, low interest rates and amazing NOIs. Like, they're coming due now.
So listen, if you're that guy that did that, and you have the 10,000 in and you're like, all right, they come for another $2,000. Well, if you have a little gold, maybe, you know what I'm saying? You could pay, you got that $2,000 liquid. Yeah. So maybe you decide to put the money in, but obviously you have to ask yourself, do you want to put good money after bad, right? These are the fun, everyone that's in business knows, like when you got to fund things a little bit longer, like, do we do it? You guys built this incredible set and there was a point where it's like, it got tough and you had to put more money in and more and more, and you just doubled down. And there's sometimes in some investments you don't double down. You just
take your losses and walk away.
Take your loss and walk away. So I think you can't get 10,000 in real estate. I don't see there's any way. I mean, I hear
crypto you can, but then it's more volatile.
It's more volatile. Yeah.
What do you guys suggest the breakdown that they should get with that 10K? Yeah.
You'd get about 2 ounces of gold. So you'd get 2, 1 ounce gold bars, and you'd get about 150 of those 1 ounce silver coins.
Okay. Simple.
They'd be real simple. That's right at 10.
That's a 60-40 split.
That's half.
50-50?
50-50.
Okay.
Yeah. And then later on, if the thing about us is if let's say it goes up a lot and you go, I want to swap my silver into gold. So let's say silver goes on a massive. I think silver is going to break in the next 18 months. I think silver breaks like 56, 57. Listen, this is an investment advice, but that's just my personal belief. Yeah. So if you just said, hey, after that, I want to swap my silver and go into gold because I want to be a little safer, we can do that for you too.
Okay.
So it's just a very interesting market right now. And I think that if people study and they get our guides and they learn from us, we have all silver guides and gold guides. They're going to learn about why we really are passionate about this.
So my question is, someone wants to start right now. What's the journey for this, getting gold or silver from you guys?
Best way to get a hold of you guys.
Give us a call. You got to talk to people. That's what we believe in. So give us a call, Noble Gold Investments. Talk to a live person here in the US.
IRA.
Yes, do an IRA or do a cash purchase, whatever whatever is better for you. Whatever you're going to talk.
But they get free Donald Trump coins if they get the IRA,
correct,
right?
Yes,
yeah. So guys, keep that in mind. You do get the free Donald Trump coins, and then you get the American flag as well.
Yeah, you can choose.
You can choose.
You get 10 ounces of silver.
You get 10 ounces free.
Any way you want to look at it. So as long as you have a qualified account, if it's a large enough cash deal, we'll throw in the free stuff too. But
nice.
But ultimately, like you got to call and talk to somebody. And I always say, it's good to get educated and learn about it and then decide and answer all your questions. Whether it's right for you, everyone's going to determine what's best. But like you should get in there and learn about these things, and this is the best time to do it because I think people are they got cash sitting in the bank. I think rates are going to come down and stock market's pretty high. So having something else to kind of hedge your bet against what could potentially happen, I think they'll feel a lot better.
I'm really glad I brought you guys because you know, I've been in precious metals myself, and I was like, damn, we need an expert in this, you know, to be able to talk about it. And guys, I'm a real estate guy, he's a real estate guy. We're telling you guys, like, you know, obviously hold everything, but like I think precious metals is something that the young people need to get behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Because you want to go ahead and put all this money into Solana and stuff, cool. But like you should also have an asset class that's very safe, that stays true with the numbers most of the time, and that you can actually like immediately liquidate. That's another thing. You can immediately liquidate this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And anywhere in the world with us, we'll buy back anything. But yeah, you go to Dubai, you go to all these places, they love gold.
Not everyone has Bitcoin, but everyone will take gold and silver from you. Like you go to any pawn shop and sell it.
Yeah.
No
There's a
problem.
reason why when I travel, I always take an ounce of gold with me, and I always have a gold chain that I wear. So if I ever get into trouble, this is worth $2,430 everywhere on the planet. It's not like it's worth $1,300 in Saudi Arabia, $1,200 in Japan, right? It's worth the same dollar amount in US dollars or whatever currency you want to measure it in. So it's
literally world currency.
Yeah, well, they used to, they used to sew gold coins in the was it the British Air Force? They used to sew gold coins in the fighter pilot's pants. So if he ever ejected, he would have 3 or 4 gold coins in his pants, so he could get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He just have to wipe the pee off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because imagine you're in like Colombia, or whatever, right, or someplace like foreign. And you lose your wallet. Guess what? You got some gold on you. Hey, you know what? I could buy my plane ticket back.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll take it anywhere. Yeah.
You never know.
And it is a good. I appreciate you having us on, and it's exciting, and I think as much as like, you know, the world is changing and like people see all these new fancy things that are out there and all the advertising, stocks and fractional, all this stuff, and it seems great. You got to understand there's a lot of money in advertising for these products because they make a lot of money doing these things.
Yeah.
These fractionalized investments out there are the worst thing you could do. And I will stand by that. And I'll argue and debate anybody on that if they want to get into it, because I've looked at all of these.
Are you not a fan of the S&P 500?
But that's not fractional. I mean, okay, so you own a bunch of the, that's different. I'm saying like when they say
syndicated real estate, shit like that.
So, I mean, it depends on the syndicator, could be good, but I'm saying like when they're like Tesla stock, and then Charles Schwab says you can invest $5 into Tesla stock.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
So you're just buying.
Fuck that.
And
so
and people don't realize that fee is going to get every $5.
I see what you mean.
They do it in real estate. They do it in art. All of these things you can buy fractionalized. They do it in whiskey. You can buy like a piece of a bottle of Japanese whiskey. It's like, what are people thinking? You know,
NFT idiots.
Yeah, it's exactly
because
they're like, oh, I want to take my $20 and do something good with it. It's like, you know what? Save up a good amount of money and buy some real investments that are going to hold value over time. So,
awesome. Right. So guys, where can they find you? Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Noble Gold
is if you take action.
You're doing,
if you just, pretend that you'll be saved by some kind of magical, your college degree is going to save you. I'll pray for you tonight because you're in serious trouble because you're delusional. And Kim knows that I have been this big pessimist ever since she met me, because we don't save dollars. We save gold and silver coinage, and we don't keep it in this country. So that's how pessimistic we are. And so we do everything legally, but we just don't save the dollar. So our guest today is Andy Schectman. You know that old saying, cheer up, it could get worse. So we cheered up, and the last time we talked, it's gotten worse. But it's good news if you take action. Welcome to the show, Andy.